Forest Creek, I oscillate between I'm a visionary, I'm a genius, this is going to be amazing, I figured it out. Like, even if it doesn't go all the way to the top, it's still going to be an awesome things I'll do with my friends. And then I flip to, I have done almost nothing. I feel horrible about this. This is the dumbest idea. What a stupid brand. What am I doing? I keep saying I'm going to do this, this, and this, and I haven't done any of that. Like, it's just, I oscillate between these two.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird to me when somebody else says the Forest Creek.
Yeah.
When somebody else says the Forest Creek or they say your podcast, I like it. I just like, I'm like, please don't bring it up right now.
Yeah, because it's like, that's where you've had this idea for so long and it's been just an idea for you.
Yeah.
And even now, it's kind of just an idea. I assume it's still like just an idea to you, but then since you've put that out and now me and Andres are part of it and other people have listened to it and they go, hey, I listened to the Forest Creek.
It
like when
just
Chance
terrifies me that somebody's going to be like, yeah, I'll check it out. And then they look at the YouTube with 33 subscribers.
It doesn't say at least 10,000. Why am I even bothering?
Welcome to the Forest Creek podcast. Happy New Year. Happy 2023. I'm here with...
Jared.
Yes, it's me, Raph.
I've revealed the last name.
Yeah, I'll bleep it out.
Do it.
It's 2023. It's the third day of 2023. Second.
Yeah.
Is today? It's weird when
January
you
2nd.
have a party that goes past midnight. So it goes into January 1st. Then you sleep on January 1st and you wake up on January 1st,
Yep.
but it feels like a whole day.
Yeah, I'm used to it because I've been on graveyards for so long.
Yeah.
Now that I'm off them, it's nice. But yeah, I'm so used to that starting on one day and ending on the same day.
I've never had a graveyard shift, and I don't think I ever could. Like, just thinking about it, there's no way. Like, none of my regular jobs have ever required me to do it. Like, back when I used to work at, like, grocery stores or when I worked at a Purdy's for a little while, I was doing late shifts, but they would end at, like, 11, and then I'd go home and go to bed. You know, it wasn't that complicated. But now, just the way that my life is organized, I would hate to have to switch my schedule to do things around. I'm sure it's not an impossible problem, but just stupid.
It's interesting because I kind of have a love-hate relationship with graveyards because after a while it gets pretty brutal and it's kind of hard to slip into. But yeah, my dad gave me some great advice that really helped in that don't fully switch your schedule. The thing I did following his advice was go to bed as soon as you get home and then wake up earlier in the day, essentially leaving work to be the last thing you do in the day. And so I'd wake up and have a good 4 to 6, 7 hours before I even had to go to work. I could play video games, I could meet with people, I could go shopping, get things done in the middle of the day.
It's probably smarter because then your day kind of coheres more with the regular waking
It works
cycle.
well, and you still see the sun, which I've found is immensely important, especially when you're on long-term graveyards. If you start by waking up at 9 or 10 p.m., go to work at midnight or 11, and then you go to bed at 9 or 10 a.m.
Seeing the sun during the day, your sanity depends on it.
Yeah. It's wild.
Today's the 8th day of Christmas.
Okay.
This is the thing I'm coining now. We're in the 12 days of Christmas. Today is the 8th day, right? You don't have to start trying yet on those New Year's resolutions. So you can wait till after Christmas. No,
Yeah.
I like that. I like having the buffer period. It's from December 25th, Christmas begins, stretches over top of New Year's, and then January 7th, first week of the new year, you're kind of in it now. Yeah, you have this period of adjustment, of holiday and adjustment.
Yeah.
12 days of Christmas. You can go to work. I went to work during that time, but during work, festive, holiday, right? It doesn't feel like anybody's getting anything done. Things are slow, they're quiet. Maybe January 1st when you head back into work, you feel like you're going to start picking things up, but it's still Christmas. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. It's Christmas. It's still the 8th day of Christmas. You don't have to bring 12 presents every day for one person, but just continue to give yourself a break. We're in Christmas time. Yeah. It's not over yet. It's the 8th day of Christmas.
How mad do you think some people would get if you walked around saying Merry Christmas around this time?
I think they would be more confused than mad.
Yeah.
And if they did get mad, I would what do you care?
Yeah.
What was... Either take the excuse and celebrate that today is the 8th day of Christmas, or don't.
You know what would be hilarious? if people got so obsessed with the whole happy holidays include everything
Yeah.
that on the stroke of midnight of New Year, they said, Happy Holidays!
We did a Christmas greeting video that AD basically just
Oh my
he
gosh.
took it all for himself, and he's just like, I'm getting this out, and he did it. He got out a video of us saying Merry Christmas, but never actually being able to do it, and just saying
Dude.
Happy Holidays instead.
That's such a good video.
It was fun. It was a fun thing to make. I did a Christmas Eve podcast that I released like the day of on Christmas Eve. I feel bad about that one because I rambled for 10 minutes and then read a poem for 2 minutes. And that was I'd come there to really just say Merry Christmas and then read the poem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but imagine if that was the podcast. Merry Christmas, and then you read a poem.
It was a nice poem.
Well, I'm
It
not
was a
saying.
visit from St. Nicholas.
I'm not insulting the poem.
Well, it's content, Jared.
Content is king.
Well, the thing is that my 10 minutes of rambling was keep trying to convince people to like and subscribe to this.
Yeah.
Keep coming on to it. It is New Year's. It is the new year. It is 2023, part 3 of 2020. At least that's what it's felt like for the past couple of years. It's been like we're still in 2020. It's just dragging on a little bit further. Now this is the opportunity for us to take the chance to step out of that paradigm into the new one. You know, a lot of people have been like, COVID is over. Is it? I'm not sure. They've just said that there's been a resurgence in China, but we can stop talking about it. I'm not interested in case numbers and masks and vaccines anymore.
You don't want the
bored.
death count?
No. No. I didn't want the death count when they were doing it. How does that help? Yeah. So let's stop. Let's just stop. Throw out all the old 2020 nonsense. This is your chance to start over again.
And put on a new mask.
Yes. Look at that. It feels bad when you look at your bank account statement and you're like, that's how much money I spent? But if you take a second, just refresh and be like, this is how much money I'm starting with. Yeah. Flip the perspective. Don't be like, I gained 40 pounds. Be like, I'm going to lose 40 pounds.
Loading a new game.
Yeah. You know, this is the opportunity for us to start flipping on, start jumping into your resolutions. And this is another great thing. I've been listening to a lot of CGP Grey. He and Mike and Gray from Cortex Group, they make awesome videos and really cool podcast network. I'd love to dig into more what they do. But one of the things they talk about that I think is actually awesome for productivity is instead of having a resolution, have a theme.
Yes.
What does that mean? It means that instead of setting yourself a hard goal, like I'm going to read 100 books by the end of this year, you say my theme is reading. So every time you find yourself with the space and the time, you read. You'll find that you have read maybe not 100, but 80 books by the end of the year because you spent the time reading, because you thought about reading, and that's what you made an effort to do. It actually feels more productive to say my theme is I'm exercise. My theme is I'm working out.
Yeah.
You'll improve your fitness generally, and you'll make little efforts. You'll take those small steps rather than think, I'm going to do 40 push-ups a day.
Yeah.
And then your elbows are creaking by day 2, and you're like, I got to stop doing this. I'm going to
Yeah.
give myself tinnitus, right? So a theme is actually a great thing to do. I've been trying to do it myself for the past while. My theme for 2022 was I got kind of like motivated about it. I was like, I'm going to break the chains. What are the chains? The chains are the things that are holding me back. You know, the vices, the going to drive-thrus, the not working out. My chains are being overweight. My chains are not putting enough time to financially better myself. You know, the chains of poverty, the chains of, you know, the Netflix subscription you don't need. I was like, I'm gonna break the chains. And the thing about your theme too is that it grows and changes as you do, right? So as your year progresses, I look back on that and I go, instead of breaking chains, my theme should have been letting them go, because I was the one who was holding on to it. I'm fighting this thing is making me sink deeper in the quicksand.
Grabbing this chain and smacking it with a stick when you could have just let go of it.
Yeah. My thing was, I'm gonna fight the urge to go to McDonald's. No, just drive by the McDonald's and be like, it's not even that good, and then keep going. Yeah. That's kind of a bit. I mentioned that during the self-help thing.
I was
it's
just
like,
thinking
it's not even that good. Let it go.
You deserve better.
It's like I'm gonna go to the liquor store. I'm gonna get myself a bottle of whiskey and I'm gonna drink and I'm gonna have fun. It's like, no, just let go of the whiskey. Let go of the idea that you need to have a great time drunk, and you'll be surprised to find that you can actually have a great time sober. For instance, right? So that has been a way that my theme changed. And I look forward. I haven't exactly figured out the words for my 2023 theme. I just know there's things I want to do. And there's a lot of self-betterment within that. I'll keep trying to apply words and phrases, and maybe by the end of maybe by next year's New Year's podcast,
You'll have the theme that for 2023.
Yeah, and I'll be like, that was the theme. Here is how it changed.
Yeah.
Right. So I encourage everybody else to do the same. Jared, would you say you had a theme?
I didn't know where it came from, but I had that exact same idea, and I've already decided mine, and I've already been working on it.
Awesome.
Yeah, this has been my year of drawing. Yeah, so mid to late December, I decided to start drawing again, because it's been a long time since I put in solid effort to improve in drawing. And I found this 9-episode playlist on YouTube of the fundamentals of drawing, because I really wanted to get into the actual fundamentals.
Yeah.
And so he has 9 videos with different titles. I said, okay, at least the first 9 months, I'm going to dedicate 1 month to shape and form. That's number 1. Number 2 to values, like lighting and shading. And so February is going to be that. March is going to be the next one. And in 9 months of 9 lessons. But I've already found, how you talked about how your goal changes, I'm already getting slightly bored with shape and form. And I've developed less so into like imagining a cube and spinning it in my head and then getting that on the paper, and now I'm adding shading and light and values, and it's the second day of the year.
I find that interesting because I was just thinking about the other way that could go is you finish that first month of shape, and then you start thinking, I'm not as far as I want to be. Should I move on to light and, values, or can I just jump into it now?
I think it's funny. It's been the opposite. I'm already.
It can go both ways.
I'm not amazing by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm finding I want to go deeper faster, and maybe that's something I need to. I think I'm doing it in a decent way that's actually working well for me, as opposed to just me rushing it.
But that's the wonderful thing about a theme, is that you can change it and adapt it and look at the way that you're actually doing these things then before you change it up.
Yeah.
When I was in break the chains mode, what happens is I put so much pressure on myself, I go really hard and then I burn out.
Yeah.
And when I burn out, I feel terrible, and then that feeling terrible will motivate you to try again, but then you'll just burn yourself out again.
I think Peterson puts it pretty solidly. He said, he was talking about alcoholism, so you need something better than alcohol. He said, what's not better than alcohol is...
Alcohol is a hell of a drug.
He said, what's not better than alcohol is being straight and not screwing up. It's having an adventure.
Yeah.
So yeah, setting that theme instead of, I'm gonna do this hard thing, is like, this is my year of this.
BoJack Horseman, we were just watching that show.
Oh my goodness.
The BoJack Horseman does something really well that I love seeing in like comedy and a lot of fiction. It's like the romanticization of sobriety.
Yeah.
Of when you're a grown up now, you've left behind the things that are wrong with you. I love this one scene where, BoJack the whole time he's like this drunk mess that is ruining other people's lives, but then he goes sober at one point, and now he's trying to stay sober, and now he's trying to help people, but one of his hijinks gets somebody else in problem, so he's leaving that person in a rehab. He's like, I'm moving on, I gotta go.
Yeah.
And that person's like, look at me, BoJack, look at what you did to me, you ruined me, I want you to remember this, BoJack. But then he just turns around and he goes, I remember everything, I'm sober now, and he walks out. And I was like, it's so powerful. But there is like, to me, that's romantic. Alcohol is not romantic. Being sober is romantic. It's like, now you get to be the adult in the party.
Yeah.
You get to be that guy who can have fun on his own.
Yeah.
Whoa. I'm not, I haven't gone through rehab. I'm not like sober right now. But I like the idea that like, oh, I'm just the responsible adult now who works out in the morning.
Yeah, I like it that I'm going to have a few drinks.
Yeah. Something else.
I'm gonna get freaking smashed tonight. It's like, how about I have a bourbon beer and we leave it at that?
Yeah. Yeah, just to have one thing that you enjoy.
I can have some scotch and a cigar.
I was telling you on the way to the party, I'm going to try to be Epicurean about things. Just have a little bit of these things. I don't have to have a ton.
Yeah.
I come from a culture where if you are not literally piling your plate, you're insulting the host. So it's a difficult switch because now I'm going to be going through those through the rest of the year and like trying to do that and also trying not to insult my hosts.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of the time. I actually got like one woman almost got mad at me. She's like, "You're not going back for seconds?" I was like, "I'm going to go back." And just feel awful. I don't... Stop doing this to yourself. But also that's the cultural expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things I did pick up on this year too was that by the end of the year was like, hey, I don't have to feel guilty that I'm not writing in this journal every day. Let me just do it once a week. If I can do it once a week, that's pretty good. What do I worry about every day for?
Speaking of changing habits and stuff, there's this guy on YouTube.
If you say Sneeko, I swear to God.
No, it's not. Some other guy that starts with an S, but I can't remember his name. He's an artist. But he talked about...
You know when you do that and you say, there's this guy on the internet, I just cut that part out. I just make it sound like it's you who said it. Yeah.
But he was talking about changing the habits of checking his phone. And so instead of not being allowed to check his phone, he had to do something else. So he started opening the Notes app and wrote a little bit of journal. Every time he went to open his phone and check Instagram or Twitter or whatever, instead he would go to the Notes app, go to the journal, and write something in it.
Yeah, record a thought. Something like that. I love doing that. I used to do that in high school when I was trying to write jokes, or I did it during that 1 year when I was writing haiku.
Yeah.
Now I'd use the, and try this out for 2023, I use a minimalist phone launcher.
Yeah.
Basically, a launcher is what you use, when you're scrolling the screen, you see all those apps. For me now, it is a very blank screen with just a list of words, and the words are the apps, and I name them and I organize them and decide how they're going to look.
Yeah.
So that everything is maximally efficient. It has a notification filter built in to stop me from getting notifications from apps that I don't need. And it has a timer built in that you can turn on for certain apps. So every time I go to Instagram, it gives me an option. 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute.
That's awesome. And it just shuts off once that's done?
It just pops back up. It's either you want 1, 5, 15 more minutes, or do you want to go? And that big take me out of here button, it's like ready for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Because I have to do that for myself. I'll be scrolling Instagram and be like, this is useless, and I quit it immediately.
Yeah. I feel like I figured out a lot of things over 2022 that I now look forward to applying in 2023. Because I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable with making more progress now. I've seen where the downfalls come from working too hard. I've seen where the downfalls are from not being disciplined enough. I've gotten a chance to play with the idea of like, okay, I'll just drive past the drive-through now. I'm not going to go into it. Weirdly enough, I think just being so busy with the holidays and having to go from one place to another has left me with no time to go through drive-thrus. And now I don't do it.
Yep.
And nothing feels like it's missing. That too. Yeah, so there's like a lot of things that I'm working on that aren't necessarily resolutions. It's just I've learned this about myself, and now I'm looking to apply it in this new year, which for me, I guess I'll reuse it. It's like a year of liberation for me. Before it meant break the chains, now it means letting them go. Now it means just liberation in the sense of like I can gain things that will make me more liberated. I can take better care of my car to give me literal freedom to go places. I take better care of my schedule in order to maximize that time. I can, and that Jocko Willink thing that I love, discipline equals freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can start learning to become more disciplined and then finding myself free from these things that used to hold me back, the chains, right? I don't think, maybe that's going to be my 2023 theme.
Discipline equals freedom.
I'll just put a big picture of Jocko on my wall. Every man should have that. Another important lesson that I learned. I love the words great, good, horrible, terrible, because those are the present tense and past tense words, right? You have the potential to be as great as a man. You are as good as any man has ever been. You are as horrible as any man has ever been if I examine your past and look at those mistakes, and you have the potential to be as terrible as any man has ever been if we look at what you can do. But the key to that is as a man. You are as good, great, horrible, and terrible as a man. And so is every other man around you.
Yeah.
So you can give people the chance to be good and great. You can recognize that this could go wrong and they could be horrible and terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's actually a distinction a lot of people don't know about is the words horror and terror. Horror is past tense, terror is future.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So you're in terror of the thing that could happen. You're in horror at the thing that has happened.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
What would you say were your biggest lessons? What are your themes, your resolutions? We talked about the year of drawing a little bit. What about otherwise? Do you have personal stuff?
Oh, not a specific thing, but I think I definitely broke through something in terms of being a responsible person in the workforce and maybe just an adult in general, in that I learned to make a decision and not ask anybody if that decision was okay, not make sure it was the right decision, just this is the decision and it is the right one. And then seeing that when I did that, it actually came back positive and it turns out that was the right decision, even if I didn't know it.
You learned how to be decisive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the opposite spectrum, not exactly the opposite, in a similar vein, I learned to actually be certain of the thing that I was saying, this is right. Because I did both in that I didn't know if it was right, but it's the decision I'm making, so I'm putting it out there. And then in a similar vein, I said, I did research and I know for a fact this is correct, and now I'm putting that out there.
It's funny, there's a memory that sticks with me from when I was a kid. When you're a kid, buying a video game is an operation. You need to get your parents to drive you to the place.
Yeah.
You need to like save up enough money
And you gotta
to figure
convince them.
Yeah.
Do your homework, get the thing done right.
Right?
And now that, I did all this work.
So-
Video game.
When my Xbox 360 got a red ring of death when I was a kid, and I was like, I gotta get something new. So I thought about it, I did my research, I'm like, that's it, I'm becoming a PlayStation boy, so I'm gonna go get a PS3. And then I looked online for bundles and looked online for deals and stuff like that, and eventually I convinced my dad to go to Costco, drive me to Costco so I could pick it up for a good price. And we drove there, and I walked straight over to it. I got the little cardboard thing with the PS3 on it so I could go right to the thing and do it. And my dad was laughing when he saw me do it. He's like, you made an executive decision to go and get that PlayStation 3. And that stuck with me forever. It's like I walked into the store knowing what I want.
Yeah.
I got it. I was confident in my decision, and I went right to the checkout to do it. And I was like, that's cool. That's what an executive decision is.
Yeah.
Right? You decided, and now you're moving forward with it, you're executing.
Yeah.
Right?
Funny that you learned that when you were like 8 and I learned it when I was 25.
It's stuck with me forever. It's not like every decision I've ever made since then has been a perfect executive decision.
Yeah.
But like, I've never forgotten that. And now I try to apply it in things. Yeah. Because that confidence is infectious. When I start telling you guys about like, here's what we're going to do with the Forest Creek, and I'm excited about it, you guys are like, but this could be real. This feels a little bit more real now, right? Yeah, even if I'm not confident in it at all.
It happened loads of time, but it's like, I think you're a solid leader in that vein, because even if you're not confident, it doesn't really project. You say, we're doing this and we're getting this out. And I go, why did you give me 3 days to edit a video? But we get it done. And it's like, you put out these videos need to be done by this time, and I go, this is what's realistic and this is what's not.
Yeah.
And then we adjust.
Which is good, because that's another thing we really learned a lot about when we started doing this stuff this year.
But even that professionalism is something I learned this year in my own job with making all those decisions, was essentially being able to give people a realistic expectation as opposed to a false one. And going like, you've asked me to do all the, like, there was one time where it was super frantic. It was me and our senior editor, and so he was busy with deliveries, and I get every single other task for all of editorial. And so throughout the day, I was constantly, every half hour, getting a new task from somebody, but I didn't know where to order it. I didn't know what was priority, so I looked at them and said, where does that fall in terms of this, this, and this? Because I had 3 other tasks. Where does yours fall? And they would say it's not important, or it's of the utmost important. The owner of the company just asked me to get this done. Or it's like, told me to tell you to do this right now. I go, okay, drop what I'm doing, go do that. Or I would say, okay, put that in the queue, finish what I'm doing, and then go down the list.
One of the things that definitely showed up to me in my workplace, I've started a new workplace. I got really ingrained into it, and I'm like really ingratiated into it, and I'm having a great time doing it. I'm learning a ton. One of the things that I learned most recently from it was the way the power dynamics shift depending on who you're talking to in the room and what they're talking to you about, right? Because, like, for instance, I had a talk with my boss where she brought me in, we were sitting down, we're talking about projects, and it's like a very teamwork. We're of one entity. We're one entity working because we're both in this company, so when we're talking about these things, we're working on them together. And then it turned into a performance review partway through. And when that happened, we became two separate entities. So
Yeah.
now, instead of talking about it like, here's the thing we're collaborating on, it's here's what we're negotiating,
Yeah.
right? So that was very interesting to watch that shift. And it's an interesting thing to manage as well. It's like, when somebody is putting work towards you, are we doing this as a collaborative effort, or are we doing this as a negotiation? Because some things do have to inevitably become a negotiation. It's not just about your raise or your hours. Sometimes it's about, can you fit this into the workflow?
Yeah.
Or should you negotiate with this person and be like, hey, me as an entity, I don't have the resources to manage this part of the workload that you are bringing to me. Other than that, sometimes you handle it collaboratively, like, can we reorder things? Can we switch things around?
Yeah.
So that power dynamic, observing it and acting on it, has been something I learned this year quite a bit. Any other resolutions, themes, goals? Next year when we do this podcast, I want to look like Conan the Barbarian. I just want to be super
Yeah.
ripped. I'm going to regrow my hair somehow.
Rogaine.
Because that's the two areas, the two possibilities. By this time next year, I will be more bald. I will be less bald. I'm like,
Issue hair.
I will try to figure it out. I will forcibly
Issue
just
hair.
pressurize my own head, see if it pushes any hair out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's how
I'm
it
just waiting to see if I go bald or not, because I've got more of my mom's features, but I have my dad's hairline. And on my dad's side of the family, not one person is bald. In fact, they all have full heads of hair,
Yeah.
well into their 60s and 70s and 80s. But on my mom's side, I think the guy with the most hair is my Uncle Jim, and even he doesn't have a lot of hair.
Egyptians, we all have the same balding pattern where your hair, the top of your head is going to lose hair. Everywhere else is going to be fine.
Yeah.
But like at the top of the head, your hairline goes back first, and then you start getting patchy at the top, which is what's happening to me now. And I look around, I'm like, oh, I look like a lot of these guys. So I don't know. I don't know what I'll do, but I know I want to try one more time to save my hair. That'd be cool. Other than that, I'll embrace going bald, but I was just like, I didn't want to do that at 25. I want to do it at 50.
Yeah. In my
know?
first year of following Jesus, I had really long hair that I was very attached to.
Yeah.
And at some point I was like, because the whole thing I was learning was, how far will you go to follow God? And I thought, if God told me to get rid of my hair, I would not do it. And I thought, oh, well, that needs to change. And I think within 3 months, I had detached myself and let go of my hair and thought, it's just hair. It's
Yeah.
nothing. And so I dyed it some random color because I wanted to dye it and get it trimmed.
I remember your short Caillou phase.
Yeah, because 3 months after dyeing it, I shaved it completely, and it was amazing.
To me, that was a really good move because your dyed hair looked ridiculous.
I loved it. It was great.
I thought this was absurd.
I thought that was funny, is I didn't want to go, I thought to myself, I don't want to go too extreme with the color, but to me that meant like bright neon, not a dark purple didn't seem extreme to me. But it's like, it is kind of.
Do you have any highs or lows from 2022 that you would mention?
Highs and lows. I mean, the whole thing with my job and learning and changing quite deeply as a person and becoming more reliable and responsible. Highs and lows, being in a relationship, getting out of a relationship.
For me, my highs are all also work related, but they're highs in the sense of I'm always taking more responsibility. I consider those high moments of 2022 because like I'm glad I took more responsibility. It means I got cool things.
Yeah.
It means I'm gonna get to do more cool things. And I look forward to 2023. I'm excited to do those cool things.
You know what was a pretty big high of 2022 is I got to color a movie for the first time as somebody who's like
As a professional.
Yeah, well, it was free. I did it for exposure. The thing artists hate the most, but I'm like, it looks pretty solid to me because I don't know how to color anything, so I'd rather the opportunity. So I got it. The clients loved it. It was wonderful working with them, and I found out a couple months ago that it won Best Horror in Heartland International Film Festival.
Whoa.
Yeah, so they won Best Horror for that movie, and they told me they constantly got compliments about how good it looked. I'm like, that's awesome.
Win Best Editor on that movie short film that we made?
For that little 48-hour film
I'm sure our
fest.
competition wasn't all that much,
Yeah,
but it was
that's
pretty fun.
Andres said. It's like everything else is like, what is this?
Apparently we got nominated for a bunch of awesome stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah. You got nominated for Best Actor.
Yeah, I'm proud of that. I worked hard.
Yeah.
I was thinking that AD would tell me a lot more stuff about like Here's how I want you. This is the scene that we're setting. He didn't tell me anything.
No.
He was just like, I'm going to frustrate Raph and keep him tired. So he looks frustrated and tired.
I don't think that was his plan. That's just how he is.
No. He told me later he deliberately kind of did that a little bit. I was like,
That's hilarious.
It's one of those things that we're working on because I'm like, as an actor, just tell me.
He's like,
I need
Stanley
to work
Kubrick.
with it. Stop doing this to me, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the same kind of thing with I talked to him recently about a video thing because he stayed up till 4 a.m. to like get that Christmas video done and like get it done out. And I was like, you could have just handed it off. That's why we work in a team. But it's cool. We ironed out the things like going forward. People know that's an important thing I learned. Another good thing is don't push yourself to release something on the same day that you're editing it. Because recording, like coming up with something, recording this, if I worked hard to like edit this podcast and release it before tomorrow, I could get it done. Realistically, I go, I'm going to release it before the end of the week.
Yeah.
Because I want to take my time working on it. I don't want this to be a pressured thing to release.
Yeah.
And we're still in Christmas.
Yep. It's Christmas.
I'm not going to push myself to work too hard on Christmas.
Yeah.
What's the 8th day of Christmas? It's January 2nd. Yeah, but that kind of thing is something I want to work to applying. Is like, let's get a better handle at deadlines so that we're releasing stuff on time, but we're not pushing ourselves like crazy to release it. That's another great thing is like figuring out, especially through December, because I really pushed hard throughout December. How many podcasts can I put out in a month?
How many did you put out?
I think I put out 4.
Dang.
I've recorded 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still working on 2 that I'm going to release later this month. AD and I sat down to watch Glass Onion.
Oh,
which
sweet.
is something that we'd been planning to do for a long time, so I'll be releasing that this month. And The Green Knight, another movie review.
Dope.
Movie / literature
you're reviewing
dive.
Green Knight?
Yeah, we watched and reviewed The Green Knight.
Oh, shoot.
But I also read some of the old poem in it, and we talked about that a little bit. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, we look forward to doing more movie stuff. Later on, Chance and I are going to do Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, sick.
As kind of a sequel to our World War One film that we watched.
Yeah.
We're going to do a World War II kind of movie.
It's like sequel to World War One.
We're going to do another World War because we watched All Quiet on the Western Front, and now we're going to watch Jojo Rabbit, which is like a stark difference, but also I really enjoy talking to Chance about this stuff.
Then you can watch like a documentary of Ukraine and Russia and do a sequel to World War II podcast.
The first time when you and I saw Jojo Rabbit in theaters, I kept thinking about like most of high school was me hanging out with Chance and just talking about that stuff in that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's funny, we went on a Europe trip together and we were in Germany walking through the area and we're trying so hard not to talk about the same things we normally talk about because in Germany it's like illegal.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's like you can't say the things.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I get it, but also relax. It's making you lame. It's making you lame when you overcorrect.
Yeah.
Here's one of my problems is I'm very ambitious, and I was like, this is going to be an empire in a year. We're going to have an empire, Jared. It was like that Rick and Morty, 10 more episodes.
Yeah.
Realistically dialing back, I'm like,
100 years.
Work-wise and personal life, I've got a lot of stuff going on this year too, so I'm like, maybe I should just pump the brakes on myself a little bit. Maybe I should just enjoy doing things in the rhythm I'm doing them now.
Yeah.
And not worry about trying to make $1 million before I'm 30. You know? Let's be realistic. Let's do realistic things. Yeah.
But it'd be pretty cool to make $1 million before you're 30.
It would be. That's not an impossible goal either. That's like, we have a lot of time to do that.
Yeah, I'm 4 years, man. I'm turning 26 in a few months.
Yeah. Let's go over some of the highlights of 2022. You know, some of the biggest things that happened in the year. Sure. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
That was the biggest thing that ever happened.
That was the most popular thing that ever happened.
That was like
Oscars.
number 1, right? That was January?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure if I have these in chronological
the Oscars
order.
are always either December or January or whatever it is. I don't remember.
Will Smith, one of the most branded, famous men on the planet, who is in this strange relationship with his wife Jada, who apparently has cheated on him, and then they brought him on a TV show to talk about it. I
remember watching
Red
that
Table
interview, and I was like,
something.
"What the heck?" That was
weird. Why are you doing this to the guy? We all love him.
It was a weird interview, man.
Everybody loves the Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Chris Rock makes a couple of jokes that aren't even that bad, but basically he just makes fun of her for being a little bald.
So freaking funny.
Which is like hardly made fun of her for being bald, by the way.
And the joke he made was essentially comparing her to like a strong female figure.
Oh, that's so horrible for you. Dry your $1 million tears with this silk napkin. I like, nobody cares about that, but then Will Smith, and you can see him laughing in the video, and then he gets up angry and goes slaps Chris Rock.
Yeah.
And that was a moment of like, wait a minute, Chris Rock is up there as a comedian who was paid and told to do this.
And not only that, Will Smith is a comedian who has been paid
to do that.
do jokes. It's like, of all the people that should understand what that man is doing on stage,
Somebody should put together a compilation of the Fresh Prince Will Smith
yeah,
calling Uncle Phil bald. Because it's like 8 seasons of that.
Yeah.
I would love to see a compilation of that and just send it to Jada.
I didn't even know what G.I. Jane was until he made that joke, and everybody freaked out about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
It was hilarious.
I kind of got it. I was like, oh,
"What's
G.I. Jane is a movie.
No, I literally had no idea.
Yeah.
It was so funny because I wasn't even watching it. I was in the room when my dad was watching the Oscars and it happened. I was just talking with my mom, and then my dad's like, "Oh!"
I was like, hey, that's the most interesting thing that's ever happened at the Oscars. The
Yeah.
Oscars suck.
You remember
It's
the one
so
year they
boring.
didn't have a host because they didn't want to offend anybody?
The years I remember the Oscars most, Seth MacFarlane hosting. Because he was like, oh, I'm the Family guy, but I've been doing enough stuff to actually get me up there. So
Yeah.
he got to host. He did a pretty great job. There was the year everybody went Oscars too white. They were like, too many white people are winning Oscars. There was the Ricky Gervais year.
Yeah.
When he got up and just roasted
I'm
people.
pretty sure that was the year before they didn't have a host.
Yeah, there was I think it was the year where Joker was winning an Oscar and Joaquin Phoenix went up there
Oh.
and he gave like a 10-minute speech about not, the chickens are suffering. We're taking their no, they're like, we're taking the cow's baby and immediately slaughtering it. I was like,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
all pro-abortion, right? I was like, so let's just chill on
Yeah.
this killing the babies thing.
I remember the one joke.
And then, Ricky Gervais comes up like pretty much right after him. Is like, you all suck. You all make these speeches every year, and it's so boring, and
That's
nobody
so
cares, and nobody
awesome.
believes you. I want to look it up again, but it was just such a great roast of Hollywood when Ricky Gervais got up there and did it. His stand-up that year, he did a stand-up special that year, so great promotion.
Yeah.
It was a great special.
Oh,
Yeah, it was actually pretty fire. Did it. Great job.
he's pretty solid.
Yeah.
I love the Norm Macdonald joke where he brought up he's like, I'm going to give my time to my friend. I can't remember the name. He said it was like Chief Two Feathers or something.
At least do that. At least do that. At least
It
have
was
somebody come on.
amazing.
I want Miley Cyrus to go up there and be like, I brought on a burn victim this year. Something like that.
Talk about fires.
That's how Miley Cyrus sounds now, by the way. Her regular talking
Does
voice.
she?
Yeah, Joe, I just remember. I listened to her on Joe Rogan
She was on Joe Rogan.
like a year ago or so,
Yeah.
and it was so strange to listen to because we used to, as a kid, I watched her show on
Yeah.
Family Channel.
Yeah.
Hannah Montana.
Hannah Montana.
Right? She had like those double lives, and then she did
Yeah.
the Wrecking Ball thing. And I'm like, oh, she's an adult now.
Yeah.
And then apparently she's like off of years of drinking and drug abuse and like doing loads and loads of psychedelics.
Yeah.
She still has an amazing singing voice, like a country singer to beat them all for
That's
sure.
awesome.
Easy. Her talking voice. I just did lots of LSD on the planes, Joe.
That reminds me of watching videos of Amy Winehouse absolutely smashed on stage. Can't understand a word she's saying, but as soon as she starts singing, completely different. It's like she's in the recording booth. It's perfect. Absolutely amazing.
Winehouse. It's like, what are you not going to be a drunkard? I wonder about the mumble rappers sometimes. They're like,
Yeah.
When they're talking outside of that, are they clear? I wonder.
Can you imagine just like, and he's like,
Is that recording good? Should we try again?
how was that take? How did you like that take, producer?
Trying to get it. Oh, again, little Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Oh shoot!
That was
I
another
forgot about
big
that.
conflict in
Yeah,
2022.
the poop trial.
Because it comes off of that. We're still dealing with the Me Too thing.
Yeah.
That was a big part of culture for a while, and it's lead up to cancel culture, and Johnny Depp got caught in the fray of it. They're like, he really hurt that woman who's been making millions of dollars off of just being with him.
I honestly don't remember anything except that she took a dump on his bed.
That was one of the things that
she,
came
like,
up in the
threw a
trial.
bottle at him or something.
So she was being psychotic,
Yeah.
basically, in this relationship with him, and he's like a damaged ex-drug or current drug addict. I don't really know. And he's kind of like Johnny Depp when he started off. He was in a band. He was a wannabe rock star, and then he got picked up and put on.
Oh, was he on the original?
He was 21 Jump Street. 21 Jump Street. 22. He was the original. 21 Jump Street cast. So he's always kind of had like that.
The rock star vibe.
The rock star kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And then he goes off and plays Jack Sparrow, and of course, right? But then, so he's clearly like a kind of a chaotic person. He gets involved with another chaotic person, and then she turns out to be way more chaotic than he thought. And they had accused him of abusing her, and then all of the evidence shows that she's actually been horribly abusive to him.
Yeah.
In the way that I was like, how does somebody get that heated and act like that? Probably a lot of cocaine. But then it comes up in the trial that the reason why she's trying to take so much of his fortune is because she promises a bunch of money to donate to these places, so she looks like a really great person, and so they back her during that time.
Oh.
And then it turns out she hasn't actually given them a dime. Uh-oh, sinking ship. And now it seems like he's been exonerated. Another thing that happened this year, more closer to now, Sam Bankman-Fried.
Oh, yeah.
So, are you familiar with the FTX scandal?
I'm familiar with what you've told me about it.
Okay, to try to summarize, basically FTX was a big exchange. You can bring your crypto there, you can exchange it, you can buy and sell crypto, and you can hold it there on the exchange, right? So this guy, Sam Bankman-Fried, starts an exchange, works really hard. The exchange sets up. He's kind of developed this kind of like poor man's billionaire kind of vibe around him, because he always wears this big, lame baggy t-shirt. He looks like he still lives in his mom's basement. He doesn't he doesn't seem to drive around in a Lambo or anything. Yeah. There's shots of him. People loved posting this picture of him where he was sleeping in a beanbag chair in his office while other people are working around him, because he's just so dedicated, he doesn't want to leave. Yeah. And people love to post that stuff. It was really big in a lot of these crypto groups. But then what happened, this is kind of hard to explain. Yeah. Basically, during that time, Bankman-Fried was what I like to call nerd sniped, where sometimes rich billionaires with evil plans go and find impressionable, young, smart people and then start grooming them to do things. I have no doubts that some very smart billionaires groomed Sam Bankman-Fried and told him, just do this, pursue your dream, you could be a great hero. Yeah. Also, we're going to use you to funnel a bunch of money through. Yeah. So he starts FTX. He gets in with this other group of nerds. They all buy a place together in like the Bahamas where they just live and sleep with each other in this. And it's not like a circle of Tim Dillon goes off about this. It's not a circle of attractive people. It's a circle of nerds, and they have like a weird coven that they're living in. They start this group called Alameda Research. So they funnel money through there, and then the money comes back to artificially pump up, because Binance does this too. These exchanges like to launch their own cryptocurrency that they can buy and sell. So they launch an FTX token. The FTX token, not worth very much, obviously. They buy their token themselves to inflate the price using the money that they launder through Alameda. And then they, sell it out and put it out into the ecosystem. And because they're doing that, they're actually inflating the price, the money that is on FTX, even though they don't have the liquidity to back all of that, which means if everybody were to withdraw their money from FTX, they would actually be in debt to the people on their system. So what happens is all this fake stuff is going on. They're pumping a ton of money. Sam Bankman-Fried, the Bankman-Fried family, has donated to the Democratic Party in the US, along with other things. Just a ton of that kind of stuff going on. Then they start going, okay, there's a lot of holes in this ship. We've been riding it for a while, but it's starting to sink. Let's sell FTX. So they go to Binance and they make an offer. And Binance is like, all right, we'll look into it. So Binance starts doing it, and they're like, these numbers don't add up. And then once you start pulling at this loose thread, everything unravels. Oof. And because of that massive panic, everyone's like, I'm pulling all of my stuff off of FTX. FTX is like, we can't afford it. We close. We're stopping you from doing that. They didn't have any liquidity to back anything. That FTX token was so inflated, it was actually worth nothing. Like, by the way, if you know anything about crypto, two things are worth, like a handful of cryptocurrencies are going to make it. There's almost thousands out there. Of how many different kind of cryptocurrencies there are. So another thing that a lot of people really need to get into their heads, do not keep your money on an exchange. It's different with the stock market because you actually need to be able to, move the stock off enough. If you're a regular day trader, I get it. Take your winnings though and put them in cold storage. You don't keep gold in the market, you keep gold in your safe and then trade a little piece of it. But the problem is,
keep it in the ground with a map
People put all of their stuff on FTX and have now lost it.
Yeah.
Because the company went under.
Yeah.
Right? Now he has been arrested. Apparently he's been out on bail now for like 50 million or something. There was things about him being a vegan in prison, but the problem with something like that, when a big scandal happens in cryptocurrency, because it's still a new market, everybody got really scared and pulled their money out.
Yeah.
We saw everything tank.
Yeah.
Not nearly as bad. Not nearly as bad as the Solterra fiasco, but it's not good, right? Bitcoin is at pretty low. But actually, I'm happy about that because it's cheap and easy to buy.
Yeah, right.
And now you can buy it now and just watch it grow.
I'm glad when I looked into Bitcoin, it was like, I'm in here for the 10-year market. So it's like, I bought a couple years ago or whatever. I don't even know where it is. It's on my last phone or something. But it's like, whatever. Market goes up, market goes down. I bought at the peak. I bought when it was like 59, 60 USD.
Yeah.
Almost peaked because I think it got up to like
$80,000 in Canada, basically.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think cryptocurrencies are going anywhere. I don't think the big ones are going anywhere.
No.
When you look at slumps like this is actually when the most interesting stuff happens.
Yeah.
Now, it's like Coca-Cola waits until a slump like this happens before they make deals with like 8 other blockchains.
Yeah. Well, I think it was like even August 2020, Bitcoin was worth 11K. So it's still worth double what it was.
Yeah.
At its new lowest air quotes point.
The most conservative expert estimates are that Bitcoin, by the time the last one is minted, will be worth $500,000 each.
Yeah.
I don't think that's out of the possibility, and I think it's just going to be a lot of years before we get there.
When is the last one mined? 2030? 2031?
Something like that. I don't know. But the point being is like, if you're a regular person trying to make some money off of crypto, 2 important lessons. Go for the stable things that are going to grow slowly. Number 2, keep it in cold storage.
Yeah.
Don't store it on an exchange, right? If you have the ability to take something off the exchange, do that.
Yeah.
You don't want to get shut out of the system. It's really bad.
All I want for Christmas is cold storage.
And if you are somebody who likes to day trade coins, do that. I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Just be responsible. You know what you're doing. You're day trading. Clearly you understand the rules. Neuralink has been big in the headlines for a little while because of their... I don't know what they're doing in there. They make it sound like they're
Apparently it's a slaughterhouse.
They make it sound like they're just putting all the chimpanzees in a gas chamber.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? Are they killing more animals because they're doing way more
I
experimentation?
have no clue what's going on with it because the only thing I've ever seen on Neuralink was a few years ago, Musk put on some demonstration to investors or something with various pigs. That is like, here's one without the Neuralink, here's one with the Neuralink, here's one that's had the Neuralink safely removed.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So it's like, okay, so you like, because that was something I never thought about. It's like, okay, well, what if somebody doesn't want the Neuralink anymore? Or what if it's doing something it shouldn't or needs to be fixed? It's like, okay, well, we need to remove it.
It's cool to know that's an option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things he demonstrated, but all 3 of the pigs looked exactly the same. I don't know what was fixed or wasn't, but...
Interesting.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Animal experimentation, if you experiment on an animal, it doesn't matter what state that animal is in after the experiment. They consider it inhumane to let that animal continue to live, and you have to put it down.
What?
Yeah. Basically, they always put down the animal afterwards.
Oh.
They just say, like, hey, we experimented on this animal. We can't let it just go back into the wild now.
Regardless of what the experiment was.
Apparently. I'm not 100% familiar, but in general, that's the case.
Yeah.
What happened is that, Neuralink is a product. It's a bunch of wires and a chip that go into your brain.
Yeah.
Right? It's a product designed primarily to help people, like, get over disabilities.
Yeah.
And then it's going down the road, it's going to become more and more consumer based, and it'll be like you're putting your cell phone in your head, right? Which I'm kind of looking forward to. I hate having a phone. If I could just do it all by blinking, that would be sweet.
Yeah, right.
But,
I mean, because I've thought about that. It's like I walk down the street to my car, and then I go, forgot my phone.
You know what I would like to have is some kind of like AI chip. Not in my head, but like something I can keep like a small pendant on me, and then wherever I go, it just Bluetooth connects to a speaker, and I can talk to the AI.
Yeah.
And then the AI can do all my work for me.
You want Cortana?
I want a Cortana. I want that Scarlett Johansson AI from Her. Not to sleep with, but just to like do my work, I want a robot butler.
Yeah.
I would rather have a robot butler than carry something around in my pocket.
Yeah.
And I would rather do that than have something in my head. Yeah. So what happens is Neuralink is a product is being put together for that, and the claim is that they have been overdoing it with the animal testing because apparently they're being rushed by CEOs and Elon himself saying we need to do this faster, we need to move it faster. So they do more experiments, they kill more animals, and it's like way out of proportion.
Because that's the interesting thing.
It's like way out of proportion compared to their competitors, which is another company trying to do something similar, and they've only killed like a third amount of the animals.
Less.
Yes, much less.
Because like the comparison I got was the average company is 60 to 80 animals, whereas Neuralink has been 1,500 approximately.
When I hear that it's like, oh, it's because Elon rushed us, I was like, you euthanize the animals.
You're the people
doing it. Are you telling
me
me there was no checks and balances this whole way through?
Yeah.
And hey, are you euthanizing that amount of animals because you're that much farther progressed in your research? It's like, is there something to show for it? Because then it's like, it kind of makes a little bit more sense.
If you've made 80 years of progress or some insane thing, then
it's like, I get it.
It's like maybe it's the same amount of animals that would have died over the course of those years, but
which is like, hey, that's not that different from a lot of Elon's other ventures where he's like, I want this now. And he is a person who is like, I will put in the 18-hour day to get this done. I hope everyone around me will. I hope everyone is as excited about this project as I am. I don't know what he's like as a boss, but I now take it with a big grain of salt because ever since he became the world's richest man, people love to target him on everything. So I don't know. I'm always going to take the side of the billionaires.
That was such a funny thing when he was making SpaceX and he first like launched something or put a Tesla in space, and I was like, I guess you can just like go into space if you can. There's no laws against that. Why wouldn't there be? Like, why would there be? I mean, it's like, I guess that makes sense.
Like, cool.
There's no rule saying you can't go into space unless you're part of NASA.
Go waste your own money, do it. What's the worst thing that's going to happen for me is that he's going to develop a convenient way for me to get to space. And then I'll pay him like a ticket in the future to go to the moon or something. That's what I want. I'm going to teach my kids to become rocket scientists. First off, it's super cool. It's really, really cool when you think about what they're doing. It's like, they're doing a bunch of math, but that math is calculating what does the wind need to be for this rocket to remain upright? How much thrust should we put? How much fuel do we need to burn at this particular time for how long to generate that amount of thrust to keep the rocket stable? Just watch it. Go watch videos of SpaceX and their rockets are landing. It looks like it's a pencil that you're trying to stick upright. You know how hard it is? Take a pencil in your hand and try to balance it upright. It's like, that's what they're doing.
Upright.
Throw it upright and balance it. Like, that's what these people are doing. That's what rocket science is.
Like, that was a wild thing when, this is going way back, when he came out with that rocket, shot into space. And, you know, with shuttles and stuff, the thrusters always pop off once they're in space or like at a certain thing, and they just fall into the water. And they're just like, okay, let's chuck these somewhere. But he he invented, essentially, they'll detach and then they will come back.
So
and
we can
fly themselves back
them.
so we can reuse them.
Right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's wild.
Keep making the strides. I don't care how many monkeys you have to. But it's like, the way people characterize it is that like they're just bringing all these monkeys into a prison camp.
It's just a slaughterhouse.
Not to laugh it off, animal cruelty is a horrible thing. And you should avoid it when you can. But if it's gonna get me a Neuralink a little bit faster, I'm sure a bunch of people who are, if they were listening to this, would be upset that I haven't mentioned this other big thing that happened in 2022, a war. Well, lots of global conflicts are happening right now. We just talked about the biggest Twitter hashtag one of all time, Myanmar. No, I'm kidding. Ukraine and Russia. I feel bad about Myanmar. The civil war is still going on there.
That's freaking
It's like
wild,
an
man.
honest to God struggle.
When did that start? 2020? 2021?
It's got to be around that time. It's in 2021, but it's been going on
or
longer.
Like the soldiers were been shooting civilians.
That's pretty much how let's give a brief cap to encourage people to like look into this a little bit is that
It's brutal, man.
in Myanmar, a military coup happened where the military took over the government and they formed what's called a junta, right? This is a word that's been used outside of this, by the way. So the military junta started suppressing the press, oppressing the people, the fun press words. And the people decided, especially students, it's always students. They organize a protest. They're going to go out there and protest. The military, instead of responding by, hey, let's just have people stand up there, let's like start a conversation or something, they say, let's just shoot at them.
Yep.
And we're not talking about rubber bullets. We're talking about the live rounds. A bunch of civilians were killed. So the people go, we're not doing this anymore. A lot of those same students, they go, we can't put up with this. So they started a rebellion, a civil war. There are still videos of them now. I get updates from Popular Front every once in a while. You'll log on and just look at their Instagram and be like, oh, this is a video of the kids doing a drive-by on the cops because they're fighting against the Myanmar oppressors, basically. It's down to the point where they hardly get any support, by the way. They're not, getting a lot of weapons from any, so they have to A, steal it, B, print it, C, make it. It's amazing to watch the people like rising up and like really fighting back and actually being a nuisance. Myanmar's military responds with corporal punishment to all the citizens. They have bombed a lot of their own villages and just mass civilian casualties. They'll do anything to get rid of these people that they're calling terrorists. So go look into that. The actual war that everybody's been keyed into, Ukraine and Russia, very bad. Also very bad. A big mess. Everybody wants it to end. It doesn't look like it's poised to end because nobody's really, stepping up and saying, all right, I will make compromise. I will negotiate, right? Putin's acting like he's been painted into a corner. There's just nonstop hate about him. People are not going to be happy until he actually dies. Or at least they're not going to show any kind of satisfaction until he dies. Zelensky himself, our favorite news celebrity president, I just remembered he's actually releasing a book of his wartime speeches. He was on My Next Guest with David Letterman. They were gonna have him like call into the Oscars at one point.
Wow.
It's just so stupid, the amount of celebritizing that's going on about this guy. I haven't even seen his show. It's weird to think that he was
has
like
a show.
He had a TV show where he played the president of Ukraine.
Yes.
And then he became the president of Ukraine. Look, I'm not saying it can't be done. We just had The Apprentice host be president in the U.S. Justin Trudeau would be great on TV. Not gonna lie, he'd actually be pretty great as a regular.
He was a substitute drama teacher.
If he was a regular on a sitcom, I would clap. I'd be pretty happy with it. I actually think he would be a great sitcom TV star. There's a lot of hot emotions. I don't have any take on the Ukraine war except that I hope that it ends soon. And when Zelensky comes out and says, I will not negotiate with Russia until there is somebody other than Putin in charge, dude, that's not a great accelerator to peace.
Great negotiations.
I don't think it's realistic to think that Russia's just going to stop and go home. You're going to have to give Donbass. I know a lot of people are not happy with that, but would you rather that or peace? A lot of people seem to be a little overtly excited for nuclear war. I am not. In New York, they released a video being like, here's a quick guide to what to do if there's a nuclear attack. What? It's like they're like, being outside is not a good idea. Don't stay in your car. Find a building and stay away from the windows.
It's nuclear.
It's like, hey, guess what happens?
It doesn't matter where you
New
are.
York will be gone.
It
doesn't.
Go to another part of the planet if you can. Otherwise, you're screwed.
I don't think there is any other part to the planet.
If anything, it's go closer towards the bomb so you don't have to suffer with the side effects of mass radiation.
Listen, I'm sorry to tell you all, I love you all as my listeners, but there is no room for you in my bunker. It just won't work. So that's another thing. I hope we see an end to that. I was hoping, wouldn't it be nice if we just had a quick war and it was over before the new year? But here we are. Quick
10-month war.
Quick 10-month war. They're like, it's gonna be a rough winter for the people in Ukraine. It's gonna be a rough winter for all of us, apparently. If you look at, the tax plans and the economy,
According to
and
Trudeau.
recession and possible depression and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to bum you all out, everybody. Sorry.
I'm not. No.
Another horrible, violent takeover. Elon Musk purchased Twitter.
At gunpoint.
It has been, because there was the little dance we saw in the beginning, is like, is he gonna buy it, is he not gonna buy it?
Yeah.
And then he's like about to buy it, but then he finds there's a lot of holes in the system, there's a lot of problems. How many people on here are bots? And then he eventually does buy it, and then because every time he was like, I'm gonna buy it, people go no, and then he's like, oh, I'm not gonna buy it. People go, hey, you're stupid. Then he's like, I'm gonna buy it. They go, no. It's like, what are we doing?
I don't know how real it was or what happened, but apparently he posted a poll and he was like, should I step down as CEO? I will abide by the results of this poll.
The most recent development is that he put a poll on Twitter saying, I'll abide by this poll.
Yeah.
Should I step down as CEO?
84% no.
Really?
84% stay.
Because that was at one point, and then the end of the poll was actually closer to 50-50.
Oh, really?
And step down won.
Oh.
So now he is looking for a replacement as CEO.
Oh, wow.
To quote his words, whoever's crazy enough to take this job.
I had no idea.
Because the truth behind Twitter is actually some pretty dark things. One, they were taking payments and taking money from lots of major news networks, from the White House, from the FBI and CIA to censor political stories.
Yeah.
Including, and not limited to, the Hunter Biden laptop story, which could have had a major effect on the presidential race back then.
Yep.
They've been doing all kinds of naughty stuff, banning people and letting the wrong kind of things on their network.
Mm-hmm.
It's none of my business. First off, the Forest Creek is on Twitter at the Forest Creek, but pretty much all we post there is like just automated posts from Instagram.
Uploaded a YouTube video, uploaded Spotify.
Yeah, that's pretty much all that's up there.
Yeah.
I got up there one time, I was like, hey, change the fonts on your phone, shake things up. That was one thing I sent up there.
Yeah.
I think I tried just doing banal, just very simple things like, go outside today.
Yeah.
Remember to brush your teeth. So I don't know what to say on Twitter anymore. I did a year of haiku on there, which is also on at the Forest Creek. But aside from that, I was like, there's nothing good to add to the conversation here. It's almost all negative. Even the positive stuff is like clapbacking. So I look at Twitter and I don't see a useful platform at all. Not just for having a conversation, like for nothing. Anything that you find on Twitter, you would have found more effectively on any other platform.
Yeah.
I have no love in my heart for Twitter. I hope Elon messes it up. And apparently he's doing that because he had to fire 90% of the staff because A, they weren't working, or B, they were massively biased. And then just the constant things that he's finding on there that are dark and terrible.
I mean, they were the fact that Twitter employees were being targeted for stories by Project Veritas and found out for whatever they were doing. I don't remember exactly what they were caught for, but it's like the fact that Project Veritas is going after them, something's got to be happening.
Project Veritas is an interesting group of people.
Yeah.
Because James O'Keefe is people have seen him enough now to be like, oh, I've heard about you. You're a tricksy character.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing he does where he's like, I'm walking into this situation with a hidden camera and recording this conversation. Cool. If we were having dinner, it's like, that'll be some fun content. Send me a cup. But the thing is, he does it when he sends people into Planned Parenthood or something like that.
Yeah.
And,
oh my gosh, dude. The video of when they sent a guy undercover as a proposed pimp, and they were talking to Planned Parenthood about the fact that the story this guy was proposing is that he's got a 12-year-old girl that's working for him, that it's like, can she get her abortion without telling anybody, and then how soon can she go back to work? And this Planned Parenthood's person is saying maybe have her take these pills and wait a week or two. And she's laughing about the whole thing. It's like he not just heavily implied. I think he mentioned that the fact that she was 13.
I want to meet this guy and be like, how charismatic are you? What? You could just walk in and be like, I'm a pimp.
Yeah. I don't think he never
pimp.
directly said that, but it's heavily implying what the line of business was and who's working for him.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the reasons why Twitter why Elon took it over is because a lot of people look at Twitter and they think that it's some big platform where we're having a public square and discourse, and this is where we want to promote freedom of speech by taking over it and like unbanning people. And,
Yeah.
But it's just like, dude, here's the thing that you should have driven to everybody. Freedom of speech does not depend on a platform. It does not depend on words on any piece of paper. It does not even depend on the laws of your country.
Yeah.
You are always free to speak your mind, even
Yeah.
if there are consequences to that. And what if you really want to promote freedom of speech, promote people going out and talking to each other, not using the message board. The message board is a dark place.
Yeah.
One of the things that I am glad about his takeover for is that one of the reasons why he did it was one of the things he said, and a lot of people just swept this under the rug. He's like, we're going after porn. Which is prevalent on Twitter.
Did they get rid of that on Twitter?
They're trying to. I don't know if they can. But
Maybe it'll be like OnlyFans.
Hey,
They're like, we're getting rid
my
of the porn.
standard for Elon doing good with Twitter is for him to go delete. So, whatever is up to and around that line is fine with me. I could care less. I hope people take a lesson off of it and stop investing so much of their lives on a platform. And just like, hey, do the thing.
Yeah.
Do other things. It's one of the things. I hope he goes after TikTok next, but I feel like that will never happen. In memoriam, somebody passed away, very important, 2023. Queen Bess, Queen Elizabeth, the something.
Second.
Queen Elizabeth II passed away. She was very old. She's a queen that has been around for most of our lives.
It's weird that she doesn't...
For the entirety of our parents' lives, for our grandparents' lives.
How the heck?
Just like a staple in society.
Yeah.
We've always had the queen, especially here in Canada. We are kind of attached to the monarchy. So it's very interesting to now think, oh, the queen, that lady who's on all of our money, is not around anymore.
I mean, apparently, I don't know what it is now, but you can pop down to Parliament and get a poster of Queen Elizabeth II. Maybe it's a picture of the king now. King Charles? King Edward? I don't know.
Well, that'd be
What's his name?
Strange. Yeah, you are allowed. Like, there is free memorabilia of the queen.
Yeah. No, straight up. You could go and get a poster of Queen Elizabeth.
And now people are readjusting to the king, which nobody is excited about. I think what I remember my dad was saying is like that was the last major Christian world leader that we've had. I was like, I'm not sure if that's true, but I kind of get it. I just can see why people are upset. But then I also tune into like, what does Ireland think? And they are singing. They're singing and they're dancing in the streets. It's strange to think about. That, there's also a lot of oppression that has gone on under the queen. I don't think the queen herself was like, make sure you send more bombs to the Congo or whatever. Like, I have no idea.
Man, Tim Dillon talk about the queen is racist? What?
That was part of Meghan Markle is so annoying. I've never seen her in something like even in Suits.
Yeah.
Where she was all she had to do was be the hot girl. I feel like they could have gotten someone way dumber and gotten the job done. They got Meghan Markle to be up there, who's not even that good of an actress, and then she marries into the royal family and then calls them all racist. And now she's with her husband and they're going to do Netflix documentaries about racism. So lame. It's so lame.
I love that the royal family said, oh, that doc wasn't as bad as we thought it would be. Like, oh, so there's a lot of stuff going on, huh?
What were they saying? I honestly am curious.
I have
what
no
were
clue.
they?
I didn't watch
Because she
it.
accused them of being like horrible racists.
I don't know.
I'm like, well, what could they have possibly said that was that bad? Was it like, oh, did you know that she was half black or something? I have no idea. Like, is that what they were? Were they upset? Or did they just mention it? Like,
No idea.
We have no clue.
I think... No, I don't remember.
That being said, rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth. I don't think you did much in the beginning, but you existed, and that was enough for us. Apparently. It's not like I don't recall her ever making some giant statement that changed the way people think about things.
Yeah.
Her job was to exist.
Well, and that's the interesting thing, because she's a staple in my mind because she's been there all the time, constantly. She's on our money. And I never adjust to, what is his name? Well, who's the king? I don't even know. Is it King Charles?
I want to say Charles.
I want to say Charles.
Charles.
I don't know. Let's assume it's Charles.
I was hoping one of the kids would become
Oh,
the
yeah.
ruler. I actually think it would be great if the little girl became the next queen of England. I just love that aesthetic. Our queen is a kid.
Let's get another child monarch.
A child monarch would be awesome.
That'd be
Someone to just
hilarious.
grow into it. It would be that person. Monarch would be around for ages. We're probably gonna see the king die in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
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 We actually just saw the Pope die.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, the old
Not
Pope.
the current Pope.
Not the current
Yeah,
one. Pope
'cause
Benedict the
He's the one
Ninth.
that stepped down, correct? Yeah. And then lightning struck the Vatican twice.
Did that happen?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if it was twice. It was at least once, but it's like the Pope stepped down and lightning struck the Vatican. I don't know the time frame between them, but it was the way Andres talks about it. It was some massive
Just want like heaven to open up and God to be like, that wasn't a statement. Sorry, just slipped. I have no issue with what.
It was supposed to be that other massive Rome building.
And then to end off 2022, the villain Andrew Tate was finally arrested. Finally. Oh my god. We actually have an Andrew Tate video that's coming up
Oh yeah.
in a bit. We've
We
been
did
working
that.
hard on it. It's going to release. I postponed the release because it wasn't very Christmassy. So we'll see it out just to invigorate all of you who are out there grinding and hustling. I have no strong feelings about Andrew Tate other than that I have been entertained by him. I don't 100% disagree with the things that he says. I actually find them to be mostly pretty normal. If you're not an entirely like Western informed person, you actually won't have that big of a deal with what he's saying. Because what he's saying is like, you say the same thing to anybody in Dubai, they'd be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just how they all do it, right? I get it. There's a lot of like, the way that he conducts himself, similar to someone like Donald Trump, in the sense that he lives a very self-pathologized life, where he is the main character and the hero of the story.
Yeah.
And he talks about that all the time.
Yeah.
And when he tells his stories, it's like, oh, you kind of get it. You kind of see like the kind of man that his dad was, the kind of challenges that he had to go up against, and you're like, oh, okay, I understand. I think
I vaguely know that like him and his brother grew up in poverty or something.
I don't know about poverty.
I don't know.
I know that his dad was a chess master, taught him a lot of very
Yes.
valuable lessons.
Yeah.
And then he grows up to become a kickboxer and does well in it. And then he becomes an influencer and works really hard at it.
I liked seeing Joe Rogan talk about his realization of Andrew Tate's new fame.
Yeah.
Because his kid came up and said, "Dad, do you know Andrew Tate?" And he was like, "I know he's a legit kickboxer, like a world champion."
Yeah.
And his daughter was like, "He says funny things on the internet and makes me laugh."
He says funny things. Sure. I find him entertaining, to say
Yeah.
the least, right?
Definitely.
I don't think... I'm not sure. Like, nobody is actually sure of what the criminal charges will come into effect.
Yeah.
He is a self-proclaimed pimp,
Yeah.
right? That's one of the
Literally.
things...
Online pimp.
An online pimp, which is like, shouldn't all pimps just go online now? What are you walking the street for?
Yeah.
What? But hey, not putting a judgment. I'm not a fan of the OnlyFans kind of culture. But if you're a woman on there who's making $2,000 a month and you're keeping that whole $2,000 to yourself, but then Andrew Tate comes in and says, if you work with me, we can make $10,000. I'll take 5 and you take 5. That's a good deal, right? Is he exploiting you? No, he's kind of like a business manager, which is in a very approximate way is what a pimp is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Kind of a business manager in securities,
Yeah.
right? Help you make more money if you're in this line of work. So he is a self-proclaimed pimp. I don't imagine that problems didn't
And
come
Mafia
from that.
Don.
I don't know about Mafia Don. I think he was like just talking it up. I don't think he's actually in the mob.
No. I think from what I remember, he was.
Granted, we actually don't know anything because apparently he just got accused of human trafficking.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he was. I mean, for the second time.
I wouldn't confidently say that nobody in his circle is not attached to human trafficking. I wouldn't even say that nobody has been trafficked in his building. But is he personally running the trafficking ring and profiting from it? I don't know. I don't think so. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Why would somebody who makes millions and millions off of YouTube or millions and millions off of just being an influencer go into that?
Yeah.
Is publicity is the opposite of what you want in crime, right? And the other part to that too is like what didn't click with me is that the whole house is on closed circuit television. He said that multiple times
it?
that his house has CCTV, right? So security cameras everywhere.
Interesting.
You wouldn't do that if you were doing illegal things
Yeah.
all the time, like because you don't want
maybe you
video
would.
evidence. I get like maybe because of some security protocol, you want to see if anybody's escaping, but
Because then you've got evidence of, look, I wasn't doing anything. It was all underground where the cameras aren't.
maybe that's it too. maybe that's it. But I don't think his
Who
house.
knows?
His house has been raided by the police.
Yeah.
So basically, the situation.
I assume multiple times.
Multiple times. Yeah, you're right. Because he used to get swatted. He was actually on. He was on Tucker Carlson talking to him about it at one point. He was like
That's
saying, "Yeah, I got
hilarious.
swatted a bunch of times." And the police come in, they look at everything, they say nothing's illegal, and they leave.
Yeah.
When he was arrested recently, basically the story that everybody thought was the case was that Greta Thunberg was being Greta Thunberg, i.e., annoying, and then he decides he's going to engage with her on Twitter and writes her a long tweet talking about his Bugattis and his car collection and how much fuel emissions they have, and saying, "Just let me know where I can send these to you."
Yeah.
Because he just wants to annoy her, I guess. So she clapbacks, she sends back some joke about like, you can send them to smalldickenergy@something.com. And then what happened is in the picture of him getting into his Bugatti, there was like a pizza box, and they're like, "Oh, that's a Romanian pizza shop." So I guess Romanian PD was like, "We got him." And then they went down and arrested him.
Yeah.
And then Greta caps it off and she puts out, "This is what happens when you don't recycle your pizza boxes," kind of joke. Turns out, obviously, no, the Romanian police was not waiting on a pizza box. You don't think they would have looked at flight logs to see when he was in the country?
They got one guy scrolling his Twitter account every minute of every hour.
It's so stupid. They do the same thing with like, I'm sure they have someone like that with Elon. Just seeing what, but yeah, there's a lot of holes in the way that he got apprehended, and honestly, when I hear about these things, I have so much doubt. I'm not already my dispositions tend to be pretty anti-government and stuff like that. But that aside, how could any sane person have watched the fiasco and the lack of results that occurred with the Epstein-Maxwell trials and go, okay, they take human trafficking very seriously and we're going to get the bad guys this time? No, we won't.
Yeah.
We just found out Balenciaga they sell children too, apparently, and we've done nothing about that.
Goodness.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that was to push something else under the rug. Romania, as per Tate speaking himself, is one of the most corrupt places on the planet.
Really?
Yeah. That's why he said he lived there. He's like, because it's corrupt. Because I can speed and all I have to do is pay someone a bribe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I was like, oh, I get it. Yeah. Apparently when they arrested him, there was a bunch of cash and guns, which is like, if you arrested me, there would be cash and guns. So what are we talking about? Is it illegal to have cash and guns? In Canada, yes, some parts, but cash? I was like, so what?
Cash is very legal in Canada.
Yeah. He does a lot of things that like, people are like, oh, he did this because he's a billionaire. I was like, if you were a billionaire, you would do it too. You'd be stupid not to do it. Offshore accounts? What are you, a dummy? That's what I told Santa to do. That was a fun podcast. Yeah, so we closed off of the year. We had this big villain the whole time was Andrew Tate. And even though he got deplatformed, he was becoming more and more popular. Deplatforming him made him more popular. And then we got to end off the year with him getting arrested, which was like a fun way to finish off that story.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen from it. To be honest, he's already out. Like,
oh, wow.
He wasn't like permanently detained, but there's definitely going to be an investigation and a trial. I hope everything's okay. I hope nobody was trafficked. I feel like I have to say that even though it's very obvious.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, duh. What do I gain from him being a trafficker? I'm not making excuses. Andrew Tate's paid me nothing. When he starts paying me, I'll start saying things. But until then, you can reach us at the Forest Creek, theforestcreek@gmail.com. Right. So that pretty much brings our recap of 2022. Is there anything else you would have wanted to mention?
I don't know.
2023. AD isn't with us, but he has been requesting that we do a rundown of movies. So I picked the 4 movies I thought would hold up a little bit.
Yeah.
Something we could talk about. Top Gun.
Oh, yeah, that
Did you
came
see
out.
Top Gun?
Nope.
No, you
Never
didn't-
even saw the original.
You didn't see Top Gun?
Haven't even seen the original.
I saw Top Gun in theaters. I took my dad on his birthday to Landmark Cinemas, great theater. We saw Top Gun. It was actually awesome. The whole movie was entertaining. There wasn't a moment where I was like, this is stupid. It wouldn't happen. It was a lot of...
Yeah.
It's great to see a movie that's not particularly high IQ that's still fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because the whole movie is like, America, yeah, we're the good guys. Look at these inexplicably Eastern European bad guys or something. Like, they actually kept massively vague. They were massively vague about the bad guys in the movie and the operation that we're doing. We didn't even know who the enemy was this whole time. We just understood there was an enemy. There is a target. But the film itself is like actually awesome. It reminded everybody of like why it's so cool to be an American and what was all awesome. But you look at these reboots and you're like, this is gonna suck. Top Gun was massively fun.
Yeah.
I recommend that you watch it on a nice TV and just get the full effect and watch those like crazy cool jets just swoop in and like complete the missions. It was awesome. Another movie came out, Thor 4. Thor 4 was Thor the something. I don't know. The Return of Natalie Portman. That's what we called it. We did a review. You could go check out me and AD's review of Thor, the something.
We should have called it 4.
Thor 4. It's Thor 4 to me.
4.
Yeah. Avatar 2. Yeah. That's another one you could check out me and AD's review of it. We gave it a 7 out of 10 because it was fun to look at. It was too long. It wasn't a very smart movie. Kind of like, yeah, we get it. You're setting up a franchise that you spent way too much money on, and now you're trying to justify this amount of money. And James Cameron's a genius, but also an idiot. So, I don't know. Make of that what you will. You're welcome to check.
Well, apparently the movie's already made $2 billion.
You're welcome to check out our review. I'm not sure that I'll see the next one in theaters. But I feel like that's the pressure. Everybody needs to see them in theaters because that's the only place it's almost worth watching. Other than that, like I've said multiple times, I think it's something that you put on a big TV screen at a family gathering so the kids can watch it and watch the pretty colors while the adults talk. And even though the adults are talking and even though the kids aren't that smart, everybody is going to understand the movie because it's not very complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wish it needed a lot more show, a lot less tell. It needed to spend more time on things and cut out a lot of useless things. But I'm not here to edit a movie for you. Although apparently the director's cut is 9 hours long.
Yeah, no, I'm not watching that.
No.
I'm not giving a day to Avatar.
I will do other things throughout that day while it's on TV.
Yeah.
I actually feel the same way about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. A lot of people love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think it's too long. There's too long, and it's like I don't understand what the plot was. It's like, yeah, I'm having fun. Aren't you having fun? Aren't you having fun? We're in Hollywood. It's a Quentin Tarantino movie, and there's Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. Aren't you having fun? It's an amazing movie. You look at it. Look, it's Sharon Tate. We're having fun.
Did that come out this year?
No, it came out a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I get it. It's something I would put on during a party. It's not something I will sit down and watch again. I'm sorry. Sorry, Quentin. I like your other movies except for Jackie Brown. And Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh.
Apparently that also came out this year. I completely forgot about it.
Apparently that came out
No Way Home was when all the other old Spider-Man came into it. And I actually really enjoyed that. Seeing Tobey Maguire come back, it's like, yes! Because that's my generation.
Yeah,
it's our generation.
that's why I wanted to watch it.
Was the Spider-Man 1, 2, 3 with Tobey Maguire, the Sam Raimi trilogy.
Oh, so
and now people
good.
are like, we should start that up again. We should get him back. Let's do more of that Spider-Man because he was very charming.
Has Tobey Maguire aged at all?
A little bit, but it doesn't look like a ton of it. In the thing. He seems to have kept in pretty good shape.
He's CG.
That was my favorite of the movies. I think it was the one that willed to be the darkest and the most complex and the most fun. It's like you should watch Spider-Man 1, like the Homecoming. You could skip the one in the middle. The one in the middle kind of sucks.
Far From Home?
Far From Home is bad. Not good. But Homecoming and then No Way Home, those are pretty good.
I saw the best meme about that. It was Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man No Way Home, and the fourth one, Spider-Man Homeless.
Tom Holland's in everything, and I actually don't like him. So I don't think he's a bad Peter Parker. I just hate that they put him everywhere for everything, and they're trying to convince me that he's the new best amazing person to look at. I'm like, I
haven't seen it, but I will never understand the casting of him for Nathan Drake.
Is bad. Yeah.
He's too young, and he's not grizzled.
It's like I got it, and I wanted to give it a chance, and then when I watched it, I was like, you made me dislike Nathan Drake.
Did they make him old and grizzled in it?
No.
Oh.
They kept him young, which I thought could have worked, but it was like less of the goofy but intelligent Nolan North Nathan Drake, and more of I'm a douchebag who steals. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It could have been better. It was not. I feel like Sony kind of threw away the money on that one when they could have like spent more time on it.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing about that movie that doesn't translate very well. There's a lot of death in Uncharted that is easy to, metabolize when you're playing the game. It does not look good in a movie because it's like a fun Disney style action scene and then somebody falls 10 stories and goes splat.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, whoops. It's like, it's instantaneous finger snap death moments. And it's like, oh, right. That doesn't really look that great in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially not when the tone is like up here and bright and happy and then death. Yeah.
You got to shock the audience.
Those are the biggest movies that we could think of.
Oh, the only movie I saw this year was Bullet Train.
I can't believe that didn't make it on my list. Bullet Train was a great movie. Yeah, me and my friend went and saw it. It was.
Andres didn't like the writing. He
I don't
thought
know
it was
why.
really basic.
I
thought it was
thought
great.
it was
I loved
awesome.
it.
It was a massively entertaining movie.
It was interesting.
We watched some great stars. There wasn't a single moment of the movie where I'm bored. I was watching the whole way through.
Dude.
It escalates very well.
It's gorgeous.
Yes. Very well done film. And
it's so beautiful.
I'm glad I went and saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
But this is also a movie that you could watch at home and have a great time.
Yeah. I should look up who colored that because it looked absolutely stunning.
It was a beautiful way to experience Japan.
Yeah.
Without actually like going out and filming literally every inch of Japan.
Yeah.
Hiroyuki Sanada. I probably butchered his name, but he's the Japanese actor who plays the old man in it.
Oh yeah.
He's one of I've seen a lot of samurai films with him in it. He's awesome. I love his work. Brad Pitt is excellent in it.
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock, for whatever amount of time she's in it, is actually pretty good.
Who is she?
She was like his handler.
Oh, I don't think we ever actually saw her, did we?
We did.
Oh,
At the end. We also saw Ryan Reynolds for like a brief second.
Who did he play?
Guy who was supposed to be there.
Oh, he was at the very end. At the very beginning.
He was revealed at the very end.
Oh, was he revealed at the end?
His name is said at the very beginning.
Not the beginning.
I was thinking the movie for anybody. But it is. The action is awesome.
Yeah.
The cinematography is beautiful.
Yep.
The coloring is amazing. The acting is fun. The writing is fun. It's like I don't have a single negative thing to say about that movie.
I don't remember any problems with the editing. It was cut really well.
That movie's a 9 to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a 9.
Really good.
I don't know what would have made it a 10.
I don't remember anything about the music. I don't remember it sticking out to me. So maybe that could bring it down.
Maybe that's it. I don't know. But it's a 9.
Who knows?
It's an easy 9 to me.
Yeah. One positive thing about the music in that movie real quick is that it was never disruptive. So it did its job and that it set the tone. And I wasn't like, oh, what was that?
Things are looking stormy. Dark and stormy for 2023.
Yeah.
Economically.
Oh, yeah. According to
things
Trudeau.
Are not gonna be they're like a couple days from New Year and he puts out it's gonna be bad.
Happy New Year, everybody. Life sucks.
Canadian Taxpayer Foundation, we're gonna get 3 tax hikes.
So
3
ridiculous.
Tax hikes. They're like, hey, this recession that we're expecting in 2023 where it's gonna be hard to find a job and pay for gas and do all this stuff, it might be a depression and we might not be out of it till 2030.
Oh my gosh.
Guys, can we, positive attitude?
Cancel that Disney Plus subscription. Like the finance minister.
Chrystia Freeland, that finance minister we have, she never has anything good to say. It's never positive stuff. It's either dodging the question or we got some bad things coming.
Yeah.
Some bad things coming and it's somebody else's fault. It's those truckers. That's why we have to raise your taxes again for some reason. For some reason. Hey, maybe look at the budget a little bit.
Is there a budget?
I hope so.
Are they writing down and recording numbers?
How did you guys triple the debt? I wonder.
It's tripled now.
I don't know about tripled, but I know it's at least doubled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over the Trudeau thing.
Yeah, I guess it was doubled like 2 or 3 years ago.
Be like, hey, maybe we should look at all these government salaries that we're paying.
Yeah.
Instead of raising the taxes on all of us who can't really afford to pay it at all. Yeah, but they're saying stuff like that. It's going to be harder to pay for things, harder to get jobs. It's like, I remember when we had gas at like $2.50 a liter here, which I don't know what that is in gallons. Right now, for perspective, it's at a more normal 160.
And even then, I remember when I went to Abbotsford, which is a local town less than an hour, maybe an hour away.
About half an hour.
Just to get gas that was 116.
My goodness.
That was like the year before COVID.
Yeah.
When gas was getting up to like 130, 140 here.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I wish it was 130. That'd be
It's
amazing.
so bad right now.
Yeah, it's like we're up to 165, 155. It fluctuates around the 10 cents. But
I'm literally like, I'm working at my job and then thinking in my head, how can I afford to keep coming to my job? But how
Yeah.
can I afford to not come to my job? It's like they're putting people in like terrible, horrible positions.
Transit.
And then their response to that is, we're going to keep pushing for electric vehicles.
Yeah.
Let's start wrapping up. But the Forest Creek in 2023, what can we expect? What can the people expect? Well, for one, more podcasts. I actually want to start focusing the podcast a little more. Picking on the things that we do well and just doing more of that. When I started this thing, I had the idea of let's just make it an audio lab and just do whatever we want.
Yeah.
The things that are easiest for us right now are movie reviews, when we watch a movie and then talk about it for now.
Yeah.
Audio lab stuff in general, we're like, we'll just do anything. Well, that's case in point. We just did that now, and we've been here for a few hours, and I'm like, okay, how do I parse this into something usable, something normal, right? And I still want to keep a little bit of that air because it's space for creativity. But I'm working on thinking, all right, what are the things that we can do regular and efficiently and well, and that people will want to listen to? Nobody wants to listen to us apparently right now. Just kidding. But yeah, so just working on focusing that a little bit more. I want to do a lot of things, but time constraints and productivity constraints are different. We also have a business that we're launching. We're also going to be trying to talk to people to make cool stuff for their businesses, for marketing content, videos, podcasts, and interviews even, for your brand, for your business, for your product, for your service, for your ministry, for whatever it is that you are out there doing. We would love to get involved in making that for you, and we're going to be working on it. So there's that side of things that people can look forward to. Sketches. Do we want to do sketches? Yes, we do want to do sketches. Yeah. We're going to be releasing a couple sketches even in January. So we can look forward to that as well. I look forward to just talking and meeting new people and like figuring out where this thing can go. Because I want to do a lot of things with this brand. It's just figuring out what I actually will do. Any big things you're looking forward to in 2023?
Getting better at drawing.
Doing more of this podcast.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. All right, folks. You can find us on Instagram, Spotify, Twitter, YouTube, a lot of other places. Wherever it is that you want to find us, you can find us at The Forest Creek. On YouTube.com/@TheRealForestCreek. On Instagram and Twitter @The Forest Creek. At The Forest Creek on Spotify. There's not really an @ on Spotify, but The Forest Creek. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on every platform that you can, and tell everyone about it. It really, honestly does help us. When you press like on a PewDiePie video, he doesn't notice it. It is a grain of sand in the desert of PewDiePie. When you hit like on a Forest Creek video, I get a notification, and I'm like, nice. Nice.
Make Raph say nice.
It makes us happy to know that we're connecting with you. I'm not saying I have to be Joe Rogan and connect with millions of people and get a $100 million Spotify deal, but that would be cool. That would be nice to have
Spotify, if you're listening.
a few people. We'd like to have a little community. That's kind of something I've always looked forward to. Even though I did say kind of in the Christmas Eve episode that I'm kind of okay with not doing that either, because I like this just being me and you. That being said, at The Forest Creek, wherever you can find us, remember to like, share, subscribe. If you want to reach out to us, if you want to talk to us about making cool content for you, or if you want to tell us about the podcast that you just listened to us do and how bad of a or good of a job that we're doing on it, or something that you would like to talk to us about, reach out to us at The Forest Creek, theforestcreek@gmail.com. You are also welcome to just comment. Just drop a comment like we were saying in the beginning of this. Just drop a comment anywhere. I'll probably read it.
Send us a question on Instagram.
Yeah, 100%.
That you want us to answer.
Our DMs are open. Hit us up. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to have you on. And we'd love to talk about the things that you are interested in. And you have a special priority to that because you're part of this exclusive club of people who have listened to us at this stage.
Boom.
Look at that. That being said, it's 2023. It's time for you to get out there and honor your resolutions. Don't go too hard just yet. It's still
honor
the 8th.
Your themes.
It's still the 8th day of Christmas, so don't go too hard just yet. But enjoy it. Have a merry rest of your Christmas and have a happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Goodbye.